Right, so we'll now move on to our deputations by appointment. And we have, first of all, Culture and Tonic, Amy McClellan-Minty and Melanie Ling on behalf of Culture and Tonic. They're going to make a deputation on item 9.
I did get 10 minutes.
Oh, sweet. Good morning.
Good morning,
Welcome.
how are you?
Very well, thank you. So you've got 10 minutes and that includes question time.
Perfect. My name is AJ McClellan-Minty and I'm the sole director of Culture and Tonic. Beside me is Melanie Ling, who is the licensee for the Little Fiddle and soon to be open Whiskey Fiddle. I thought it may be helpful to have an experienced venue owner in case you have any operational questions. Within my company portfolio, I complete or assist with alcohol licence applications, deliver responsible service of alcohol training, visit venues and carry out on-licence compliance checks, write and implement staff training induction tools, including, among other things, alcohol-related compliance. Prior to starting Culture and Tonic, I worked for hospitality for almost 10 years. My last role, Hospitality New Zealand, my last role with the organisation was the National Operations Manager. I was involved in the initial CCC Local Alcohol Policy Steering Committee back in 2012-2013. At the time, I applauded the council for engaging with the industry and trust that policy staff will again seek input from experienced hospitality operators if you decide to proceed. Some of you may remember a phrase that myself and my peers used at previous LAP deputations, and that was, councils around the country have been thrown a hospital pass from central government in trying to create an LAP that meets the object of the Act. My opinion has not changed. There is no legal drinking age in this country. There is no framework within the Act to account for individual responsibility. It is also not an offence to be drunk in a public place. In short, all the responsibility lies with the venue owner and staff to ensure they have a duty of care for their guests at all times. The former Medical Officer of Health, Alistair Humphreys, in his last deputation before the previous council, acknowledged what the on-premise industry had been telling the government for years. The safest place for people to consume alcohol was in a licensed premise. Hospitality venues are heavily regulated and inspected on a regular basis. I don't know why I'm nervous, I've spoken to you guys before. To expand on that further, some of you may not be aware that venues must have host responsibility policies. Staff must engage in regular training. Venues must have a certified duty manager on site at all times when alcohol is being sold or supplied. Alcohol serving sizes must be measured. Water must be freely available at all times. Safe transport option signage must be predominantly displayed. Depending on the location of a venue, at times owners employ external crowd controllers at an added expense to assist in fostering a safe environment. Staff are responsible in contributing to amenity and good order by ensuring no rubbish, regardless of where it has come, is not left outside, in the street or in a shared car park. If a venue is tagged, it is the owner's responsibility to remove graffiti. Under the Act, a venue must ensure it is a good neighbour within the location of its venue. To name a few requirements, at the time of applying for an on-licence, most applicants, depending on the TLA, are required to develop, submit and adhere to an alcohol management plan, a noise management plan. The applicant must be able to demonstrate how staff will be trained in the responsible service of alcohol. Menus and beverage lists must be submitted, as well as a robust host responsibility policy. A map of the area showing the location of the premise is required. A scale plan showing parts of the premise that are to be used for the sale and supply of alcohol are required. Parts of the premise indicating what parts will be undesignated, supervised or restricted are also required. These requirements are to satisfy the DLC and the reporting agencies. Food must be available at all times. Signs of intoxication must be monitored at all times. Intoxicated persons must be safely removed. The SCAB assessment tool, that's speech coordination appearance behaviour, is an effective tool to assess patrons. If customers look under the age of 25, they should be asked for ID. I believe this council may only be considering embarking on an LAP process due to the passing of the Community Participation Amendment Act. I remind council, although the right to appeal has been removed, the right to lodge a costly judicial review is still available. If this council decides to embark on the development of an LAP, I implore you to not make the same mistakes again as deemed by the High Court decision in 2017 when the Canterbury branch of Hospitality New Zealand filed a judicial review. If the council decide to embark on an LAP, please take the following into consideration. Most adult New Zealanders are not harmful consumers of alcohol. Alcohol abuse is a real and significant problem for a small minority of Kiwis. The letter of support from Health New Zealand submitted to you today stated 1 in 5 Canterbury adults consume alcohol in a way that could harm themselves. Regulatory policies should not be proportionate to the risk of harm. Policies should avoid penalising people who consume alcohol in moderation and avoid penalising outlets which sell and serve alcohol responsibly. 85% of alcohol consumed is bought from off licences and just 15% from on licence premises. That's changed since I last spoke to you, but I heard that in Costa's speech yesterday. As stated above, on-licence businesses are professionally run and comply with strict licensing conditions and a comprehensive host responsibility framework. They provide a responsible drinking environment. On-licence holders are accountable and responsible for patrons' behaviour. Most people involved in dealing with the effects of excessive alcohol agree it is the drinking at home or in a public place that causes most of the alcohol-related harm. An LAP should therefore focus on preloading, side-loading, post-loading, or alcohol from supermarkets and independent bottle stores. I stress that, independent bottle stores. Unlike on-premise drinking, these forms of consumption are unmonitored and uncontrolled. Underage drinking is rare in licensed premises. The law is very clear and the penalties are high. If an LAP was to address underage drinking in any measures, it should be directed at supermarkets, independent bottle stores, and mostly, and most importantly, the parents, friends, and other people who are choosing to give alcohol to underage people. The real challenge for this council and community is to change the behaviour of individuals and families who can reduce the levels of alcohol-related harm. Superintendent Todd's letter of support to council outlines the Act as prescriptive about the aspects of the sale and supply of alcohol that an LAP can influence and includes recommendations on discretionary conditions for licences. Yet, this provision is already available to the District Licensing Committee, and the DLC actively impose discretionary and mandatory conditions on both on and off licences. DLCs around the country have been doing this for almost 12 years. Research shows that people not allowed into bars are likely to drink in public places, move to places where there are no restrictions, or party at home, precisely the opposite of what an LAP is attempting to achieve. Christchurch venues have been governed by the Act since December 2012. When warranted, premises that breach the Act can be taken before the Alcohol Regulatory Licensing Authority, ALA. Communities can have an enhanced say on all alcohol licence applications. The district plan and building planning requirements already set out whether locations are suitable. Culture and Tonic does not support the implementation of an LAP due to the lack of framework available to council to actually address the real harm caused by alcohol consumption. Culture and Tonic sees the development of an LAP as an unnecessary expense when the Act, police, inspectors and DLC have significant tools available to address problematic premises. Thanks for your time.
Thank you. Well done. Thank you very much.
Sorry, I was a wee bit nervous there.
Not at all.
Got a bit passionate.
You had it well and very well presented information. Thank you.
Thanks,
We do have time for a question from Councillor Tyler Hunt and then hopefully Councillor Skinner.
Kia ora, thank you so much for coming in.
Yeah, no worries.
That was really good.
Oh, cheers.
There's a lot of consensus in terms of preloading drinking before going into the bars. Do you have any views on the closing times of the bars or the way that it's closing in terms of the huge rush of people coming out, for example, on the terrace, has often been seen to be quite dangerous. Would you have any views on that?
When you say people are rushing out, rushing out?
It's sort of the 3 a.m. close time. Everyone just sort of comes out at the same time.
What would you say to that, Mel, as a bar owner?
There's only a few bars that are actually still trading till 3 a.m. It's not everyone leaving at the same time. I think with all the security that all us bar owners have down there, it's monitored very well.
Yep.
There are other establishments near us that don't use the same sort of people to that, so that's where you have a few issues. But I honestly think on a whole, we are a lot better down there than we were, say, the strip days.
Cool. So on your view, it's still pretty good. Yeah.
Look, I'm more concerned about what happens in the actual venue, right? Because those are the ones that will be taken and held to account if they actually breach the act. What I will say, though, if you look at shutting some of the bars in the suburban areas any earlier, that's when you're going to get a rush into town because maybe something's shut down earlier, for example, in Victoria Streets, and then people are trying to get into town before that 3 a.m. closure. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
A very quick question from Councillor Scandrett.
Yeah, look, the main feedback I get, and I'm just interested in your comments, was the place, the where bottle stores are going, the off licence, not about the actual. And we've got quite a few bars, nice bars in our ward, but I'm just wondering what your comments would be with regards to that.
Look, the elephant in the room is about off-premise, right? And I'm mindful that you guys are stuck between a rock and a hard place. I'm also mindful that you need the LAP as the tool to capture what you're trying to achieve for the off-premise industry. I know you can't put a moratorium on off-premise. I don't really have much of an opinion on opening or closing times, for example. I have a massive issue with single serve RTDs, cheap lolly waters, for example. And yeah, let's be honest, I am concerned that some of the independent, and that's why I'm stressing independent, because it's not the same as a super liquor that is a well-run, it's so difficult to get a super liquor franchise, for example. I do not like to see independent bottle shops continuing to open in low socioeconomic areas. I think that's a problem, and that's where the harm is being caused within the family home.
Thank you very much.
Very much.
Cheers.
Very good answer. Oh, now welcome Peter Morrison, please. And